It's only 2 weeks ago, but it seems like yesterday. And here we are again.
My husband actually said, have you got other people to come on? I've got lots of people. But people like having the sound sessions, I find.
Well, it's interesting you talk about the sound sessions. I'm discovering at the moment how empowering it is and how the shift that's occurring for people. And I'm discovering, which we'll talk more about later, I'm discovering myself how it's having an impact on people, not only other people, but on myself as well. I'm finding it fascinating. And if we weren't in lockdown, we wouldn't be doing these things probably.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, wow. Was that Rumi that you read out just before? Did that say something about the drums as well?
There was. I can't remember now. I mean, if we talked about it.
I kind of feel like there was something about the drums because because you shared with me where you bought your drum from.
Yes.
Hey, Nat. You know that I want to get a drum, and I've wanted a drum for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's that whole that each of the drums is aligned with an animal medicine.
And guess what the animal skin or animal that is referred to in this one?
I can't remember.
Bat.
It's a bat drum.
What's that about? Bat is about rebirth. And it's interesting, we didn't talk about this for the start, but bat is about rebirth. It's actually coming out of the dark. You know, all that. I'm just turning off my phone. It's coming out of the dark. And the other thing is with the bat doesn't see, it feels. So in one context, I really like what you actually brought that up, because what are we actually doing now? For a lot of us, we can't see the future.
That's right.
But if we feel intuitively, almost like the bats do, through the dark, from the cave, for want of better words, it's like we're in the dark night of the soul in this respect, because people are really stuck stuck. That's probably not quite right, but there are a lot of people who are in this part of not knowing where it's going, so we really can't quite see where we're going. But the bat medicine is about the rebirth that we're going through. And for some of us, we're probably seeing the start of the rebirth. But what's also happening, we're seeing the letting go of we're letting go of the old us, the old individual that we knew. And I've always loved this analogy. Can you show me the person you were when you were 16 or 21? Or 25.
That's how old I am now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I'm just kidding.
But show me the person you were this morning. We can't, because this is the part we don't know where we were. I mean, if I could show you the person I was when I was 25, that person does not exist anymore. I can show you pictures.
Yes.
But not, and this is the evolution of humanity at the moment. We're going through this birthing process, but we've been so accustomed to everything that we've already had, the way we lived, the way we worked, the way we operated as a family. That's all been challenged now.
That's exactly right.
And like you doing what you're doing, I'm doing what I'm doing. I would never have been doing what I'm doing with you now 12 or 18 months ago.
No.
But I now am. I wouldn't have been doing sound sessions online, but now I am. And then the opportunities that are presenting, because I'm now doing it overseas as well for people in America.
Exactly.
So what I'm finding is that if we can, instead of stuck in fear and trying to look behind what was and trying to go back to the normal, there is no normal. That's gone. We've got to turn around and face the future and say, well, what do we want? And I know you have an example you can give of that. What do we want of the future that we can actually plant a seed for, and then allow the divine timing to occur in its own natural way? That's the thing that we've actually got to put in place, because when we put that in place, when you're in from a place of love, a place of peace, particularly inner peace with what's going on, we're able to then hear the inner messages from our soul that's trying to deliver to us.
Exactly. Exactly. And that whole setting of intention is so important. And I never realized how important it was or how powerful it was until I started doing this work within the last 6 months.
Okay. Can you
So,
give me an
yeah.
example?
I so can give you an example, and people who
good.
watch me.
Did we all set that nicely, did we?
I like the little lead into it too.
Oh, that was nice, yeah.
And for people who watched yesterday, you already know this, but I have for the last 2 to 3 weeks, or 20 or 30 years, depending on which way you want to go with it, I've had so many problems with allergies and sinuses to the point where I can't breathe through my nose at all. And 2 or 3 nights ago, I went, but what if I just could breathe easily? What if my nose was clear? I can breathe easily. Thank you, universe. I can breathe easily through my nose now. And it didn't happen that night. That night, I was completely stuffed on that side. And this side, I could sort of breathe through. And the next morning, I woke up and the same thing. Thank you, universe. I can just breathe easily through my nose now. I haven't had antihistamines and I haven't used nose spray in 2 days.
Well done.
Because
and the thing is, when you actually express those words from your heart and then let it go, your body responds to it.
That's
and
right.
This is the thing that I find really interesting. And I remember one person I was sharing to, and that careful what words you say, because if you say I am and then say I'm whatever sickness or whatever you might choose, you keep on creating that because you're actually programming your body.
That's right.
And I remember years ago, and I think I've shared this with people before, I've said I'm always well. And that was a decision that I made, I think, in my late 20s or early 30s. I'm always well. And even if not, I'm well. And I rarely get sick. But that's a mantra that I have always put out there. I must admit, I do my work in terms of exercise and food and all those other things. But, there's a belief system that I'm always well. And you've proved that in that context. And that's up to people to do that for themselves. That's why I feel it is so important to talk to your body.
That's right.
Thank your body. Thank the cells of your body for being able to walk and do the things that you do. Most important.
Yep. I think part of it is I got sick of hiding away on windy days. Can't go outside today.
Yeah.
I'm going to get reactions and stuff and not be able to breathe.
What did you just see? That was what you said, wasn't it?
What if I could just breathe? What if things were easy?
Yeah.
What if life was just easy?
Totally. It's like if you've got a pen on your desk, and I've said this to people, I want you to do it. I want you to try and pick that, put them all down, put them on the table. I want you to try and pick one up. I want you to try and pick one up.
Try. There is no try.
Correct. There is no try. Now,
I've watched that movie.
Okay, yeah. But it's the doing of it that's important. Yeah. And when people get that on a cellular level, everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything changes. But the other thing I want to mention in terms of what you were just saying about not being able to breathe properly and all that stuff, as we've come through, and we're still in it, in the Lion's Gate at the moment, which has almost come to an end now, there's been a lot of energy coming through. And I remember listening to, and I'm going to refer to her a couple of times today, Judy Satori talked about this. She talked about how with all the energies that are coming through, there's responses and reactions within our body, whether it be some rashes or whatever. And she was saying this is occurring to the point where she felt like going to the doctor, but the doctor said everything is okay. And I know I've shared with people that sometimes when we have a really big shift on the human resonance, meaning that there's been a big discharge of energy from the sun, I feel heart palpitations in my body. So again, it's understanding and feeling our body's response to that, because our body at the moment has been upgraded. And I want to use this as an analogy for people, please. If you go and buy a really old home, a home that's built over probably 100 years old, and you go and put all the appliances, your modern appliances into it and set it all up, you probably short the house out. many times because there's too much energy, energy coming through to service those appliances, and it doesn't work. The other analogy is, for example, computers. You get an old computer from probably 20 years ago or even 15 years ago. It can't operate all the programs that are now running through it, particularly the games. So you need to upgrade it so it can carry more energy. So what we're doing at the moment, we're changing the wiring of our body has been upgraded so that we can carry more light, and our body's becoming more lightened. And if we can understand that and not get caught up in the chaos of what's occurring on the planet at the moment, and go as a observer, observe what's going on, but you hold the center in the middle of the storm and observe what's going on, because there's a hell of a lot going on, but don't get caught up in it, knowing intuitively that we're going in a direction that we don't know the outcome, but we know we'll be okay.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. It's one of the reasons I stopped watching news and mainstream media.
I can't. It's just, I just can't. I mean, I might look on my phone every now and then, and you see all the, you go, just a quick little look. Okay, that's where they're at. Thank you, and then let it go.
Exactly right. That's 100% what I do. Oh, that many cases today. Any change in my restrictions? No. Excellent. Let's move on now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I need to do.
There's an awareness, but not living in that world.
That's right.
Another analogy might be you're walking down the street and you're seeing a guy absolutely pissed off his face, struggling everywhere. Awareness, but that's not my issue. I'm not buying into that.
That's exactly right.
I've got my life, but send him compassion, send him love, whatever you want. Hope he's doing okay. Hope he'll be safe, but you move on with your life. Yep. Yeah.
No, that's exactly right.
This week, I was watching a podcast, for want of a better word, from a lady called Judy Satori. I don't know if people know her, but she's a really amazing woman. She's from New Zealand, who has a deeper understanding about how this planet came about, where we as star beings, where we came from to come to this planet, about 100,000 years ago, and how all this came together. She has a much, 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 much bigger picture of that. I'm not going to go into that because it's probably inappropriate at the moment. But to me, I always find that fascinating, because what it does, it actually forces me and our audience is to go, well, who am I? Who are we on a soul level? And when we start to question us on a soul level and understanding that we are a spiritual being having a human experience, we can start to see things from a different perspective. And I think that's really, really important, because that way then we realize we're like in a movie, we're in a play, we're in a game here of what we're here to learn on this planet. Anyway, I listened to her podcast. She was interviewed by a guy called Beyond the Ordinary, and I thought what she shared was brilliant. So what I did is I went back and I took a whole heap of notes from her podcast, and I'd like to share this last piece that she channeled with through Archangel Gabriel. And I just thought these words were so apt to what's happening at the moment. But not only are they so apt, but it gives us so much confidence. If we can own the essence of what these words are about, we can actually take our life forward, not allowing ourselves to get caught up in all the drama. Because at the moment, we are really being tested to where we put our faith, where do we put our trust, where do we put our inner belief in this? Are we going to put our trust in what we're seeing in one form in media, or are we putting our trust in ourselves? And at the moment, there's a lot of conflict occurring with our families, with our friends, with our long-lost friends or close friends that we've had for years, and all of a sudden we're seeing, because of decisions that people have made, and everyone has a right to their own decision, but this is really causing a lot of friction. So where do you hold your strength? And this is why I love these words. So I'm going to read this to you nice and slowly. Let me find it, and I'll read it. So I said, this is from Judy Satori. As we begin a new beginning, it is time to leave behind all that does not serve. It is time to truly awaken into joy, a time to truly feel the experience of bliss, to rise above discordance and fear. to go beyond what we have known, and to surrender and accept that what we do not know is an inkling of the truth of all that there is ever known. For it is written in the heavens, it is written in the holy books, it is written in the place within earth we know as Amenti. I'll just pause here. Amenti, you might have heard of the phrase, the halls of Amenti, which relate to Thoth, which is in deep within Mother Earth, which is where a lot of the wisdom is being stored. I believe on this level, I'll just bring this back up. I believe on that level, it is as a frequency. So we can't access it in our 3D frequency, but if we raise our consciousness to a higher level, we have the ability to access that information. That's just my own personal belief in that regard.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the reason I say that is because if we got that information now, we'd use it for negative, not for good. So I'll read that line again and then continue moving. It is written in that place within the earth we know of as Amenti, that this new cycle is a cycle of abundance, prosperity, purpose, and peace. We are all instruments of this great work in this divine design. And so we prepare with love, light, and with a certain knowing that all is well. Be not dismayed. Rejoice, celebrate, step forward and know we are going beyond this small time birth. We are going through a rebirth of what we are for now and forever, on a soul level and a human level. So be it. I think those words, I remember when I listened to it, my whole body was literally tingling. I thought how apt that is. And when you read that, and with other things that I know about what's occurring planetary-wise up to 2032 as we move on, to me that gives me so much confidence. But we have to, on a soul level and on a human level, hold the space that things are okay. And this, to me, in one respect, is a test of our endurance, a test of our courage, a test of our vulnerability, and also on another level, a test of our intelligence. Now, I say that gently, but yeah. Thank you, Renee. So there you go. That's our start.
That is a start. It's only a little start.
Okay. So what I did today, and you and I did this together, which I really liked. I shuffled a couple of cards. You shuffled a couple of cards, and we've got 7 cards tonight for the group. I like 7. Why? Because 7 to me is a spiritual number. It's an inner trust. It's trusting spirit and it's trusting yourself. We call it openness and trust. And we won't share the ones that you pulled and I pulled, but they all just meld together beautifully. So the first card that we've got, which you've already got, is the disruption card. Now, this is a major arcana card here. And what we see here is the person's hands are tied together around his chest. The colouring is a whitish grey because this person is frustrated with what's going on. It's around his heart, and you'll notice how the lines are in a jagged space down through his body. So his body's in knots here. But behind there's a whole gold that's coming out. I liked the analogy of that is like the cloud has got a silver lining on it. The sun is always shining, even though there's a cloud and dark and everything else. The sun is always trying to shine. So here, this is a person that is stuck. You'll notice that the knees are locked. The knees aren't moving forward. So this is a person that is stuck and doesn't know how to move forward here. So let's just put that to one side. The next card is the truth card. What I like about this card is, and it's got number 2 in it, 2 and a 0. 2 is always about choice for me. Choice, decision, opportunities, and we see here we've got the scales. There's a balance here. There's a balance that goes one way or the other. Now, behind that, as we see, is like the cosmos. It's the universe. It's we stepping through that, but we can't step through it if it's out of balance. Right? We need to bring the truth of where we're at. Now, this person is ready to move forward. As you can see, there's the reddish around their shoulders. There's the purple around their neck. Their hair back, so they're moving forward. The black is the mystery of the future. And on the scales, there's a whole heap of white there, which is the truth. And then left hand is the staff, which is the spirit side, and the little bag of tricks or their wisdom that they've got. But the thing is with this card is it's owning every aspect of yourself that you haven't owned. So anything that pushes your buttons, you've got to bring to the surface, because that means it's clear. You have got no you've got no emotional baggage to go forward into the next chapter of your life. Because if you do go forward with that baggage, it will come up again. So you need to look at what buttons are getting pushed at the moment. What might be in your relationship at home, it could be in your work, it could be what you're seeing in the media. All that is pushing your buttons. And I remember having a discussion with a young guy this afternoon, and I shared to him exactly the same thing. What is the underlying essence of what's pushing your buttons? What haven't you owned for yourself? And to me, when you own that, it's like the scuba diving, bring the bubbles to the surface, pop, and it's done. And in that situation, when you've identified that, you feel it in your body, you're able to move forward to the next chapter of your life. Next card, please. Okay, third eye. So when we look at the third eye, and this is a hard one because we don't know the whole picture here. But the question I often ask when I'm in a challenging situation, and I'm using the word challenging as opposed to a bad situation or something you don't like, because when we're in a challenging situation, we're being called to grow and evolve. We're called to discover an inner gift that we've got, the inner resources we've got, to step up and move forward. So at the moment, what's happening on the planet here, there's a much, much bigger picture playing out. And I look forward to you and I having a discussion here, if you can remember it, in 2030 plus, sitting down and having a discussion and say, look what's happened over that last 10 years. Because then we'll get to understand, now we understand it. And I think if people look back at their own life and realize when they were younger, and I don't know the age of all our people, but people looking in their 20s or maybe in their 18, 20, 22, 24, and there was a challenging period of your life. But if you look back on it now and you go, now I know what that was about. I needed to learn, or I needed to have that experience to build on to where I am now. And to me, that is so if you can do that. So here, it's looking at what is the bigger picture, my soul, or why my soul is giving me this experience. Because as I've shared with you before, we all chose to be here at this time of humanity's evolution. And I think what a gift we've been given on a soul level to be able to experience that. So get out of victim mentality and come into an empowered mentality to be able to say, well, where am I stepping into my power here and letting go of all the, someone will get this. It's like this. I mean, I shouldn't do this with a crystal, and I love this crystal, but you've got this is all our energy. And all these little pieces that are coming out is what I call we're giving energy to. Now, they could be our relationships, it could be our work, it could be what we see on the media, it could be all the different things. But we've got none left for our own creativity. So if we can let go all of those little pieces, what happens is we come back to a nice, smooth energy center, which is everything is controlled in one, and then we can make a choice. Where do we spend our energy? So whether we're looking into the past or whether we're looking towards the future, in the present moment, we are content. There's nothing pushing our buttons, and we can actually then plan where we want to go. Plan to allow it to happen in its own divine timing. So that's what I like about that. What's the bigger picture about playing out for you and for the universe? And someone said the other day, how can we make a big difference for the planet and for people? Start with yourself. Because if you can actually start with yourself and actually be the best that you can, your own vibrational frequency of light will affect the other people that you come in contact with.
Exactly.
This one, love this one. I've always liked this card. This is a mental card. Number 6 is about harmony. But the thing is, what I like about this is that you're moving on with your life. And we see the pillar. The pillar is that present moment. The guy's knee is bent and you're moving forward. But look what's behind you. It's the autumn. The autumn leaves, the past, that time. You can never go back. Nature is like that. We can never go back to where we were. Those days are gone. It was interesting. I was talking this morning, and he said to me, Dad, in Chapel Street, Paran, he said all the shops, but majority of those really lovely shops, they've all got for lease signs on them. Now, those people aren't going back. We can focus on that and say, isn't that sad? And yes, in one respect it is. But then there's a whole other opportunity for people to move forward. And I'm at an age now where I look back on my marriage ending. There's work that I didn't get a promotion for a job. And all of a sudden, other opportunities presented. And I think we can actually look at what is the opportunity presented. There's a guy called, I like this, there's a guy called John Demartini. He tells this story. I don't know if I've shared this, but I'll share it again because I like it. Anyway, he's talking to this guy, and this guy said to me, oh, mate, this is the worst day of my life. He said, what do you mean the worst day of your life? He said, I went into work, and he said, I got fired from my work. My dad had passed away, and so I was in this job that I really didn't like anyway, but I got fired from it. I went home to tell my wife. Before I had a chance to tell my wife said, you know what, I got news for you. I want a divorce. I'm leaving. And he's just going, oh, shivers, everything. And the thing is that John looked at him and said, what do you mean it's the worst day of your life? This is the best day of your life. You're out of a job that you didn't like, which you've been controlled by your father because he's not around. I said, you're out of a marriage that wasn't going well and you're broke, so therefore she can't take all the money from you because you're broke. So what do you want to do with your life? And he says, I want to start a second-hand car dealership. Anyway, 6 months later, John got a photograph of him wearing a Hawaiian shirt, standing in his car yard selling cars. And the thing is, we look at what we actually can do with our lives instead of saying what we didn't have. It gives us the energy to move forward. And sometimes we need to, which is I feel is where we're at the moment, to be in that winter part, that dark night of the soul, as it's saying, is to allow things just to settle. We need to bring them to the surface and breathe. And when it's all gone, it's like that's grief. You know, the processes of grief, letting it go. Okay, what do I want now? And that to me was the surrender, where I said to Spirit one day, you deal with this, God, because I can't. And that was an inner peace that I had within myself. And then I was open to listening to what Spirit wanted to share with me.
That's it.
So this card of moving on, it's lovely. The guy he's no expression on his face. He's moving forward. And look what we've got, if you can see it in the right light. We have those nice little green groups that are occurring. And also it's the left-hand side, so spiritually he's moving on there. And the little green shoots means it's the beginning of something new. So I like that. He's also brown hair, which means he's grounded. You know, he's comfortable with where he is, but he's moved past into that. And if we can do that on a mental level, which is what that card is, we're then open to the future, whatever did we plan. Next card, please. And what have we been talking about? Right, this is a physical card. Number 1, it's the planting of a new seed. And like an acorn, which is what this is, it takes, it starts off slowly, but the roots take a long time to grow and deepen. You've got a really, really strong trunk. Now, this one here isn't very strong at this stage, but we've got the balance of giving and receiving. I like that because it's both. It's the physical and the spiritual together. Now, when we look at the tree is green. Tree means it's coming from your heart. Whatever you're doing, you're coming from your heart. That's internally. So internally, because it's inside the tree, we have 5 little pieces of fruit. Now, the 5 to me are about change. It's about change, and they're the orange color. So it's your second and third chakra. What is it you want to manifest? And knowing that you can manifest it here. So 5 is about change. It's uncertainty. It's mystery. It's the stepping into the unknown there. And I can say that categorically. I've walked that path where I left teaching, having no idea where it's going to be. And there's many stories in relation to along the last 10 years now of where I had no idea where things were going to go, but I just trusted. And that's why, or how I now have my belief and faith in that I've been guided here, because I've been through those experiences, and I can only share from my experience, and hopefully that someone can look at their own life and go, oh yeah, in that time there was a really challenging time. And notice how you said challenging, not bad. There was a challenging time, but I got through that. This person tried to help me, or that person walked into my life, that opportunity presented to me. So why won't it happen again? Now, look at the outside of the tree. There are 4 fruits. That's putting structure. 4 is about structure. You're putting structure into your life. And number 1 is the start is a new beginning. So I really like that particular card. So to me, some really good signs here. Next card, please. This, for those that understand, is what they call the best card in the deck. This is saying, it's like total green light. Just go, get on with it. Here's this woman. She's got light coming down through her head, which is spirit source. And in her, her right hand is energy. You know, this is the white that's in her hand, the energy to go and create what it is she wishes to create. And in her left hand, spirit is in her ear. So she's listening to spirit to be able to hear what she's got to say. She is looking up, so there's optimism about looking forward towards the light. And you see the orbs around, the orbs, the angelic world, or whatever your beliefs are there, but got to ask for help. And she's wearing pure white. White to me is purity, it's truth, it's authenticity. That's your moving forward. You know, to have that card is saying, just go for it. And don't buy into fear. Let the fear go, because what's happening here, for the last 2,000 plus years, we've been controlled by this. The mind, the masculine, the logic. You know, people will say, oh, why should you do that? Or why can't you do this? Or you should do that. It makes sense. And yet, all that plays out. But what we're doing now as we're moving into the new age, we are honoring head coming down, and we're honoring our heart. Because the heart there's more electromagnetic energy in our heart than there is in our brain. But what we're doing is we're bringing a balance of that now. It's not one or the other, but we're bringing the balance in, and we're listening to what the heart wants to share. And that to me is what the balance is. And I like it at the moment. We're bringing in energy from above, from source, and we're grounding it. But we're also bringing a balance into our life. Balance of the masculine and feminine, the balance of the mind and the heart. Bringing the energy in and tuning in to what messages we get. And what do you think the last card should be? What do you think?
I already know.
What does the number 0 mean? To me, the 0, there's no beginning, there's no end.
I was going to say that too.
Well, maybe the opportunity. Infinite opportunity.
Never ending.
Yeah, it's never ending, but it's infinite possibilities.
Yes.
See, the thing is, when you have a new beginning, it's like you have a complete fresh start. And as long as what we saw at the first card, the truth, as long as you've dealt with all of that, you've got a whole another opportunity. What would you like to do? And all of a sudden, you've got a blank sheet of paper. As an artist, you've got the page out there. What do you want to paint? You know, just go and do it. This is what I love about this card. You can show it now. It's new beginnings, right? It's the next chapter of your soul's gone to another level. It's like you've completed on a school level. You've completed year 12, big stuff, next, and all of a sudden you get the next challenges. Or you've been on a computer game, your kids will understand this. You've been on a computer game, you've struggled at that level. All of a sudden it comes together, tingle, 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 next level, and you start all over again. But this one here is, let's have a look at the picture. The door behind you is bricked in. You cannot go back. There is no going back. It's done. This person here has got a reddish, brownish hair. So to me, there's the passion in who she is as she's taking her life forward. The brownish is she's grounded. Her left foot is stepping forward. So left is the spiritual side, and she's stepping onto white. White, again, as I've shared you, is truth to me. What is the truth for her? Now, you'll see a nice blue ring, which representing the earth. But the blue is you have communicated to the universe that you're stepping into the next chapter of your life. You have your bag of wisdom around your left-hand side here, which is what you needed to learn. And in your right hand, you have the staff. The hair is off her face, so she's open to see it moving forward there. And the other thing is she's got a band around her third eye here, which is black. Black is the mystery of the future, to be able to move forward. So to me, when we put all those cards together, I think that is a really, really optimistic reading for people. And each one of you will get what you need to get from this particular piece. And my eyes just went across to the chat. My word went to clarity. And if that clarifies for you, we've done our job.
Do you know what I love about this card?
Yeah.
She's standing on the world. The world is at her feet, literally. She could do anything.
Yeah. But the only thing that stops you is fear.
We put limitations on ourselves.
Yeah. But who put it there?
Exactly. Hey, Kevin. No, exactly. And just to bring something else up that we didn't discuss earlier, on the 23rd of September, there's a book being released. It's a multi-author book. And in that book is a chapter by me.
Yeah.
And in that chapter, I literally talk about me as a 14-year-old when I went to my mum and said, Mum, I want to be a musician when I finished school. And my mum looked at me and went, you have to get a trade first. Music doesn't put food on the table. Now, I sent that chapter to my mum to read because mum's a creative writing teacher. If I need to get writing checked over before I submit it to anyone, I ring mum and go, hey, mum, there's a little bit in here about you. Sorry, not sorry. Just letting you know. And then I waited 2 days for mum to get back to me. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I just want to say, I'm sorry. I said, Mum, what you said to me in that moment was logical and practical. And she said, Eileen, I need to explain something to you. I said, what's up, Mum? She said, at that time, my brother wanted to join the police force. And her dad, my granddad, was a police officer for many, many years. And he knew that burnout was a huge thing in the police force. So he said to Uncle Paul, you're going to have to get a trade first. And so that's the energy that Mum brought into me. I said, but Mum, that's what you knew.
Correct.
You didn't know what you didn't know.
No.
And you doing that to me then created the me I am now.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
You know, I remember years ago, I was in secondary school, year 8. I remember I was in a science class. I was one of the youngest in the class, if not the youngest. And I'm wearing reproduction. Put my hand up. Mr. Ruzak, still remember his name. Mr. Ruzak, what a test is. Next thing, I find myself in the principal's office the next day with Dad. And anyway, on the way home, Dad's explaining to me what all these things are about. Dad, I'd always, off on the farm, I'm saying, what are these things with the rams? Dad said, they're the money bags. And he was right. In the context of a farm, they were the money bags. Anyway, at the end of the year, I find myself in boarding school the next year. Now, I always used to fight pretty solidly with my mum. Mum was a pretty strong woman and very fit, very athletic, and I often used to fight with Mum. Now, for years, I thought I was sent to boarding school because of my arguments with Mum. Only about 2 years ago, so we're talking now almost 45 years later, I said to Mum, how come you sent me to boarding school? She said, I wanted you to see another way of living. So the impression that I had held of what that was about was totally wrong.
Yep.
But her reasoning for sending me was so much more of value than what I ever imagined. And I got it totally because she did. It opened up my whole world in a whole other world because on the farm, it was a very limited way of living. It was very narrow. It was very naive in so many ways. But I learned also a hell of a lot by living on the farm with the upbringing that I had. But isn't it interesting what we interpret and how we interpret it in our mind And only years later, sometimes we find out that wasn't the intent of what the person is. But our belief system around that can completely change our life.
Exactly right.
And you, at your age, has now changed that by putting that out there. So and what you're doing is now affecting, you're putting the consciousness of it out there to affect other people as well.
It's that conversation really opened up with Mum, because I kind of went, well, what that conversation as a 14-year-old did to me was go, if my kid ever came to me and said, Mum, I really want to be a soccer star, I really want to be this when I leave school, instead of me going, you'll have to get a trade first, I'd be going, how can we make that happen? Which is just we live in a different time now to even 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
And that's what the change is occurring. The change is occurring on, we could go down that line for quite a while. But we're completely changing. And see, also, for me, I never thought I could write a book. I mean, I failed English, and even when I was teaching, I'd often ask the students how to spell a word. Now, some people would actually frown at that, but that's just one aspect of being a teacher. You know, there were so many other skills that I had. My spelling wasn't that crash hot in that regard. But I already tell them up front, if I can't spell a word and I'm asking you, please help me.
Yeah,
but my skills were in other areas. But then now I've written 4 books and co-authored with 2 others. Now, I would never have believed I could have done that. But as soon as you do it the first time, you go, well, what else can I do? So for our audience, I would go, what have you done in your life that you never thought you would do? Take the energy from that and push it into something else that you actually want to do, and see how your life changes.
Exactly.
Because your soul, believe it or not, wants experiences of life. It wants diversity. It wants all the different experiences. It doesn't want to have this boring, I say that gently here, the boring life that is the same thing day in, day out, all the time. I'm not saying that if you've stayed in one job all your life, that's boring, because there's some really good people who have actually done some great stuff in their community, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole other kettle of fish right there.
Yeah. We're almost ready to do a sound session. What do you think?
I reckon that's a great idea.
Should I give you a little bit of information about Rumi?
Yes.
You sure?
I mean, I'm not patient or anything.
I've never known you not to be patient. This is the card called Passion of the Wild Red Mother. Number 36. 3s. I like that. 3 and 6 is 9. Okay. There's a little bit to read here today, but I'm going to read just the main bits, and then I'll come back and read the rest later on. Passion of the Wild Red Mother. Don't ask the conscious ones about the wine. Behold the glowing effect of it in the eyes of drunks. Now, you've got to understand what Rumi is about. Rumi, in terms of drunks, was drunk on the love of the divine, the love of what would you call God, the spirit that was in. And he said, that's the ones that you want. And I remember when I was young, you'd go to some event somewhere at a youth event, and you'd see these people, seriously, they were on a whole other level of just beautiful people, but I couldn't connect with them. They were on such a high level. That's what I call the drunks. Those people who are just so loving, so kind, so in their space. They're dancing their thing. They're not worried about anybody else. They're on a whole other frequency. And then there. So that's what that's about. Now, the interpretation of it is as follows. Bring me your unreasonableness, your insanity, your love without reason, and your passion. The passion that makes you crazy and shoos all logical restraints from your mind. Leave your ordered thoughts, sensible plans, and appropriate attire at my door. Put on your animal fur and sing to me in gibberish. When my beautiful goats die, I make drums from their skins, and their spirits live on in my passionate play. When my birds drop their feathers, I gather them and put them in my hair. Come drum with me as I place feathers in your hair, and we honor the spirits of my animals, of your animal nature too, wild and free as you are in truth. Stick your tongue out and growl at those who try to tame me with guilt, shame, and fear. Do you think I give a damn for any of their silly games? Those games of reason and logic? Quote, of course you should do this way, they say. It makes sense. But I care not for what makes sense. I care for what brings you alive. And I think what we've talked about today, with what changes are occurring on our planet, I think this is really, really appropriate in that context. Because I'll put a question to you. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do if money was no object? And what the universe does when you step in with conviction about what you want to do, the money comes. I've seen it. I gave the example. I wanted to go to Egypt the second time. I needed $6,000. I did not have it. My mate didn't even know about that. And he offered me a job to actually work in his IGA store. I ended up working there for, I think, 4 or 5 months. And on literally the last week that I was working there, I had all the money to go to Egypt, plus some more left over to buy what I need to buy. But that's where trust and faith in what's happening. If you really want to do something and it's coming from your heart and you're passionate about it, you've been thinking about it, you've got to take action, and then the universe will match you at that particular place. And if it's easy, and what I mean is easy, you'll start to see the doors that open for you. And when the doors start opening for you, you know you're on the right path.
Yeah.
You, O blazing angel, are being invited by the Wild Red Mother to participate in the dance of divine passion. You may be an activist, a poet, an advocate for justice, or a writer, content in your own world of dreams. Or perhaps you are a healer, devoted to the liberation of the suffering of others and hungry to commune with ancient wisdom. Perhaps you're all of these, or some other exquisite album of holy energy in form. Whatever your nature, there is passion in your heart, a fire for something more powerful than fear that can become the fuel for your life journey if you accept the invitation of the Wild Red Mother, of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a session. Yes, you may speak. Okay. If you've got a piece of selenite, please grab it. And also, if you've got a pen, please write down an intention you want for this healing, and I will talk about it in a second. Okay. Selenite is about peace. It's a very vibrational crystal. And I'm doing a little bit of study at the moment, and I want to link these two together. The angel of peace is Archangel Melchizedek. So what I'm going to ask for tonight is that the angel of selenite and Archangel Melchizedek, I wish to be with you for peace tonight. It's also the gift of divine perfection. What do I mean by that? Is that the perfection of the moment that we're in now is perfect. At the moment I'm watching some tree or some flowers bud. Each one is budding in its own time. Some are fully grown, some are half grown, some are still in their bud. Everything is perfect in divine timing. So in this part, I want us to see the gift in everything is perfect at this stage. Let me read this to you. We bring you the peace of higher consciousness, the recognition of divine perfection that is at play in your life now. We offer you the peace of remembering the truth of your being and the divine essence of who you are. So much more than you could imagine yourself to be. We lift you from fear to peace. We help you expand from doubt into knowing. We touch you with grace and open you up to the gentle remembrance that you are safe and free, held in the perfect blossoming of your inner divinity. Let us be with you now. So if you can tune into the essence of that and hold that frequency, closing your eyes and allow it to be what it is to be. I just want you to put your feet firmly on the ground. Take a nice big deep breath. Bring the energy in from above. Energy in from below. Resonating in your heart. And just breathe gently. And feel the inner peace expanding in your heart. And as that peace expands with every breath you take, see the energy permeating out into your family, into your community, and wherever it needs to go around the world. Passion is the bridge that leads you from a smaller truth that suffering is necessary in order to heal towards a larger and more luxurious experience of life as a divine embrace. This oracle comes to you with a message. It is a big cosmic yes. It is an invitation to let go of suffering and struggle, not with regret or shame, but with gentle acknowledgement that it has had its purpose. It now has a bigger purpose, that of passion, which calls you to engage in the embrace of life with more abandonment than ever before. Now is the time to let go of belief systems and, quote, needing to know, end of quote, anymore. It is time to trust in the beating of your own heart and in the people and places and experiences that truly move you, whether it makes sense or appears to be logical or not. This oracle brings you guidance. You have divine permission to do something ridiculous. Be it ridiculous in your own mind for your age or career path, or some identity or version of yourself or another hold. The more ridiculous or inappropriate it seems, the more it moves you from your heart. Without rhyme or reason, the better. This is not about hurting people or behaving without moral code. It's about childish indulgence and questionable justification for letting the ego misbehave. It's not about the ego at all. The wild red mother eats ego for breakfast. This guidance is about listening to the trust of your own heart and allowing your soul to throb with aliveness, making that more important than any restriction, opinion, judgment, or fear of the mind, yours or that of another's, could summon. So I call on you at this stage with your hands. What I'd like you to do is bring the energy from above. Bring it in down through your crown. Bring it down through your third eye, through your throat, into your heart. With one hand on your heart and one hand on your third chakra, which is just above your belly. So what I've done here, and I want you to really connect to your throat as I say these words, connecting to your heart and connecting to the third chakra, which is your warrior spirit, which obeys your command. And I'll read this for you on your behalf. I call on the passionate wild red mother who loves me without condition, and the brother of my soul, Rumi. I ask for your guardianship onto the path of divine passion now. May I lead with my heart, dance in life without fear, and surrender into truth, singing with my soul, becoming leader of the new way of love upon this sacred earth. It is safe for me to be in my wild divinity. It is the only safe and true way for me to thrive. I am blessed now, and in the wild red mother's unconditionally loving protection and grace. So be it. Blessed be.
I never have any words once we finish that.
What I would like, blessed be, thank you. What I would like you all to do is tune into your own heart and write down the message that you got. Your own body knows the answer or the response it needs. Please tune into that, write it down while it's fresh in your mind. And there is no obligation on anyone's behalf, but if you wish to just write in whatever words that you wrote or the message that you got, feel free to write them in, please. Thank you, Odette.
Oh, you can't see it very well because the light's very bright. I just happen to have coloring pencils right near my desk, as you do.
Okay. I like that. Be open, be real, be you. Yeah.
So as you were playing, I was coloring.
And what I like with your colors, you've got your second and third chakra there. You've got so to me, it's what do you want? And yes, I can. And then you've got the red passion coming underneath. And have you got blue in there as well?
Yep. There's green, purple, yellow, red, blue, and then a darker purple.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, none of the colors are really helping. None of the lights.
No, it's hard to tell. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah.
I also, on the other side, wrote release the past. It can't hurt you anymore if you don't let it.
Well, yeah, it's very simple. You've got a backpack on you've got a backpack on. And it's a choice to carry it or just take it off. It is
exactly.
And as I was sharing with a particular person this afternoon, I was sharing is that the experience that you had, you place the meaning on it. As soon as you change the meaning of that, you can release it and let it go. And that's the healing. That's what healing is about, is actually letting go of those emotional attachments. Because once you let go of the emotional attachments to it in your mind and then connect to your heart with forgiveness and with compassion and with love and no judgment, you move forward, because on a soul level, you've had those experiences for you to actually grow and evolve on a soul level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Renee, I just have a little message for you. Just spend some time on your own, tuning into yourself, giving gratitude for your late dad's birthday. Look at all the things that he gave you in the physical world. Allow any emotion that comes up to be washed away. Be in your own power, understanding that he's there with you to support you when you choose to. He's there on an energetic level for you. Take the gifts that he gave you in the physical world when he was here. Those gifts are there for you to take with you. Be it in a peace, but any emotion that needs to come out, let it go. But make sure you spend time by yourself, sitting there with gratitude for the life that he gave and what he gave to you. I'll share that with you. I hope that's appropriate.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you. Collective message, and so it is done. It is delivered. Universe.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments from anybody else? Feel free. If not, it doesn't matter. I like Kevin Murray, by the way. Kevin, how's the years of playing football with Fitzroy, or is this the wrong Kevin? I think you like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be talking to him tomorrow, though.
Okay. Tell him if he understands my warped sense of humour. Kevin Murray was a famous footballer in the AFL. He played with Fitzroy back in the 50s and the 60s. Very
okay.
He won a Brownlow medal as well, I think.
There you go.
When I saw the name Kevin Murray, I internally smiled. So that's how come that comes about.
That's funny.
Well, if we've got no other comments or any other questions or any statements, I feel we've come to an end.
I feel that we may have.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and your energy and all that you bring. Wow, that's a good message, Renee.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Thank you. They're the things that when you get messages like that, and then you put it in the context of your own experience of life. I can only make my interpretations on that. But you've got to put it into the context of your life from where you're at. The deer, look at what the deer means. Also, particularly there's the stag. The stag is power. It's you standing in your masculine power to be able to do that. And the fact that the sun's coming through your antlers, you stand in your power, girl. As you've noticed how I've just literally set up in my chair here. All right, the beating of your heart. This is a beautiful one. I really like that. And the white is truth. White is the purity of who you are. Wow. Well done. And that's a beautiful message for you. And this is the thing that I find when I play. You know, we get different messages. People will get all the certain messages they get. But things are happening, whether you understand it or not, there is a vibration that's occurring. And in that process, what's occurring is that we may not understand what's occurring, but energetically and on a recalibration of our body is occurring. And the thing is that over the next couple of days, you know, you might even get some interesting sensations, or even in your dreams, you get different dreams that coming up. There's always something occurring, but we may not consciously understand that or know that, but it is occurring. So trust in that context. And as we move into the next couple of weeks before we come back in a fortnight's time, please don't get caught up in what's happening around the place. There's a lot going to happen in the next 2 weeks in terms of my understanding, in terms of my sources. There's a lot that's going to come to the surface, and you've just got to stay centered. Please stay centered in it. Awareness, let it go. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in all the drama. Hold the feast. Bring your body back to this experience that you've had tonight, if you like. Close your eyes. Tune into the sounds again. You can do that just easily. You just tune in, back to the sounds, balance yourself, peace. Remember the selenite. If you've got a piece of selenite, it's about peace. Ask Archangel Melchizedek to be with you as well, to be able to hear. And when you actually ask for them, we have to ask for help, and they can actually bring that energy in to support you through the challenging periods that you're dealing with. Because this is all about growth. This is all about the evolution of the planet. You're here for a reason, and you've got a role to do that. And the fact that we're all here together in this particular space, we've all got this beautiful energy that we're all linking together to be able to do the work that we're here to do at this time. So go gently, be at peace with yourself internally. And if there's stuff that comes up, bring it to the surface. Acknowledge it, find out what it's about, and then let it go. When you let it go, then it's clear. It's like the baggage we were talking about. But you bring it to the surface. Don't push it down. Bring it to the surface. I'm feeling expression. I'm feeling pissed off. This is what I'm pissed off about. A, B, and C. Okay, done. Anything else that I'm pissed off about? Yep, that. Okay, I acknowledge that as well. Anything else? Okay, bring that up as well. Anything else? No. Check with your body. Oh yeah, I feel okay. Breathe. Go and spend a bit of time in nature. Put yourself against a tree somewhere and breathe. Let Mother Nature just do its stuff for you, and go gently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love that the term "go gently," because we don't.
No.
We're always in a rush.
Yeah.
And yes, Nat, please go and save the video and replay it.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, what we do. We are so caught up. We've been programmed that you have to be busy, because that's the 1260 clock.
Yep.
Society has taught us and programmed us that we have to be working. We have to be doing something. You can't actually feel guilty that you can't just sit and just be. Because just being, when you're not busy, you actually allow spirit to actually connect to you and speak to you. If you're busy, you can't hear anything that Spirit's trying to give you a message, or your guides are trying to give you. It's in the silence and the stillness that the little messages come through.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So yes, trust yourself, step out one step at a time, and then watch how, as you begin to trust yourself, it's like a progression. And the more you trust, the more you trust. The more you trust, the more you trust. And then
Yes.
comes to a point of an inner knowing that you know that you're making, and you don't need anybody else's approval. By all means, share you have a discussion with somebody, but you've got to trust your own heart. And John D. Martini talked about this so beautifully. It's called the law of lesser pisses. I'd sooner piss someone else off than piss myself off. Because
Yes.
as soon as you piss yourself off, you're giving your power away to them. Stop giving your power away. And when you stand in here in your own firmness, in your own strength, and knowing who you are, you don't have to apologetically apologize for who you are. And people will test you on that. People will challenge you on that because you have trained them already to be a certain way. You have trained people how to treat you. And all of a sudden you're changing. And they don't like the change because they're so used to having you the way you were. Now you're going through a whole new process of stepping into your power. I've had to do that with my son for the last 10, 12 years. Because when he came back after, 10 years after my marriage ended, he came back, he went to the West for 10 years, came back. His dad had completely changed. He could not cope with that for a while. And he's still dealing with the change of who I've become. But that's the evolution of our soul and as a person. So, yeah, best of luck with that, Renee. And I look forward to hearing
awesome.
the responses of that. Anyway.
Yeah. I just had a little chuckle actually because someone caught me having a little yawn then, and what it is for me, it's not that I'm tired; it's the overload of energy and it's a release, which is quite funny, but it's not socially acceptable.
Again, you're giving your power away to all those other people. You're allowed to have a yawn if you want to.
Well, I am. I claim my yawn, and but I'm not giving my power away. I'm explaining that what for me the yawn is absolutely just an overload of energy, and it's getting that energy out. It's part of. I do it when I'm healing as well.
Yeah,
it's not tiredness this time.
No.
That'll hit in about 2 hours.
On one level, what we've done here, then you need to digest it all. Take the bits that you want. You know, if people really want to do it to another level, I would say, well, what did you get out of tonight? Feel free to write. That's why I got you to write. What was the thing? Sit with it and then make a conscious decision. As a result of this, I am going to do one thing that's going to change my life.
That's right. Oh, that's so funny you said that.
Yes.
That's what I talked about today in my free coaching group.
Yeah.
Changing your life.
What
one thing can you do to change your life? Because how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Except if you're vegetarian and then they say, please don't make me eat the elephant.
Yeah, but it's seriously, it's one. I remember you go to you go to seminars, workshops, and I've been to a lot of those. But if I can get one point and then implement that into my life changes.
That's right.
And that's the beauty of that. We can do this and enjoy it, and we've had a lot of fun. And I've enjoyed it, and you've enjoyed it, and our audience has enjoyed it as well. But what do you take from it that you can adapt and change in your life? And that's where the growth occurs. And it might be letting go of one thing that you choose to let go of. And it might be one thing you choose to do as a result of that. And then watch your life change.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
And choose to open your eyes and see.
Yeah.
Especially if they blur over mid-chat.
That happens. That's we need the tissues. The veil is getting thin. Oh, love it. Love it.
All right, guys, this has been a wonderful night. Thank you so much, Lee, and I appreciate every single time you are on. And thank you to everyone who has spent your time and energy with us as well tonight. It's been fantastic. Did you do the pendulum?
No, I didn't. Let's do it at the end, though. We'll do it. We'll see what the energy source is tonight. Now, that is. What's the average of the life force tonight? 250,000.
Whoa. Good job.
250,000.
And that's why I'm yawning.
Yeah. 250,000. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Well done, everybody. Thank you for your attendance, contribution. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your energy that you brought to tonight. And again, thank you for supporting us both in this process that we're going through. Because without your audience, we don't have anything to share.
That's true.
So thank you for being present. And on a whole nother level, I really appreciate you joining in and being part of me being able to share whatever I choose to share. And I have no idea what I'm going to share. As we both know, we start off with a bit of a theme and we just go where it goes. And if that can help and assist you in one way, it's worthwhile what we do. So thank you very much.
Exactly right. I figure if one person has been helped, then it's worth doing.
Exactly. Absolutely. I agree. So,
Yeah.
so thank you, everyone. Thank you for being part of it. And we'll speak in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, we will. Looking forward to it.
No.
All right. It's Friday. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe. Don't be silly. Maybe be a little silly because...
Yeah, can I just add, if I may, I will be doing another sound session. I do one every Sunday at 2 o'clock. If you want to be a part of it, and there's a couple of people in this group who already are, if you want to be part of it, just message me through Messenger and I will send you the link for it. You don't have, there's no expectation, there's no cost or anything like that. It's just that I do it at 2 o'clock. We do it again through Zoom. I send you a link through that. It was a similar process. I don't go to any of the talking that we've done at the start. Very quick. I use a Rumi card for a start, very brief conversation. We share the actual, I do the reading, and then people can share what they want at the end if they choose to. And we do it. And then I do another one on Wednesday night at 8:30. And I'm also going to do one at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning because people in America want it. So I'll be doing it with people who've been connecting from America because the other time doesn't work too well for them. So I'm going to do it at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. But if you're really interested, please let me know and I'll send you a link. No expectation, but the option is there.
Might get my kids to listen on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, they're cool.
Calm down.
Yeah. Well, we'll try. We'll try. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Grace. All right, I'm going to sign off now, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Have a really great weekend. We will see you next week. I will be live a bunch of times throughout the week. I'm currently doing a Monday motivation. I do my Friday freebie training. I've got the Thursday night and the Friday night. If I can fit anything else in the middle there, you'll get a notification. So have a good weekend and we'll see you very soon. Night, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.